Oh gosh. Okay.
Man, Trent, you can't give up now. You said this was supposed to be fun.
I only thought that because Harvest Moon was fun. This is terrible. Hard work sucks.
Well, would you like to play Harvest Moon?
I'd like that a lot.
Well, I can always go inside and get this started for you. Which one's your favorite?
I have no idea. Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so exhausted. Let's wait a little. Hi, everyone. It's summer. Every year in June on the station, I try to dedicate a series of video games to a video game series of my choice. This year, I will be focusing on Harvest Moon. I have been playing Harvest Moon for over half of my life, ever since I was about 11 years old. Anyway, Harvest Moon is a great game. It's so much fun. You know, you might think that the main concept is hard manual labor. Isn't that great of an idea? But anything that can sell millions upon millions of copies has got to be a great game series. So, I'm gonna concentrate on my favorite ones right now, since, you know, there have been some great installments and some not so stellar ones. So, buckle on up, throw on your overalls, and it's time for the title card!
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Indiana's Top 5 Harvest Moon Games! An opinion piece. Alright, I don't like to make a video that's been done before, and even though one of my favorite YouTubers, Peanut Butter Gamer, has told us which games he likes, I feel he was much more fair to the game series as a whole. I, on the other hand, have differing opinions. To Natsume's credit, despite their logo being eerily similar to Activision's, they always make significant changes to the annual iterations, for better or for worse. In the many games they have made, there has been a formula that they've applied to some of those, and those 5 stand out to me the most. Here they are. I'm gonna tell you now. Alright, this game is at the bottom of the list because it may have a laundry catalog of problems, but I would rate my overall experience as a positive one. Let's start with the problems. The big one that cripples almost all the newer editions of the handheld is the dang clock. Harvest Moon games last a long time, and honestly, sometimes they last too long, especially with this monstrosity of a time system. It only takes a certain amount of time to water all of your crops, care for your animals, woo your lady, and forage for materials, leaving you with way too much time to mess around with the jumping mechanic. Nobody wants to sleep at 3 p.m., but they will if they don't have anything else to do. Harvest Moon games' time should be a precious commodity, and not a cumbersome hoard. The second thing was the quality system. Next to time, backpack space in Harvest Moon games is extremely precious. Butter should only take up 1 square, not 4 different squares for 4 different star amounts. Lastly, and this is only a nitpick, the game's music is some of the weakest in the series. I mean, the opening theme is the Christmas song, I Saw 3 Ships A-Sailin'. Big inconveniences out of the way, and I think this game is pretty neat. I love the windmill mechanic. I love that Zephyr Town focuses on windmills, and that blowing into the DS microphone will speed up the process. I also love the Grand Bazaar. There are 2 ways to make money in this game. First is to sell your stuff to Ralph for criminally low prices, or wait until Saturday to sell your stuff at the Recettear-style minigame known as the Grand Bazaar. This is what the game needed desperately more of. This game could have benefited so much from having more of this, but I like the idea of it being once a week. I think we could have had a much better game if, I don't know, the days were shorter. All in all, I think this was an amazing game that if given a proper remake could be one of the best in the series. Now before I start this one, I do have to point out that it was my first Harvest Moon game, so it may be a little bit of a nostalgia blindness. You know, the nostalgia train came around the corner, it got some nostalgia chemicals in my mind, so I'm a little nostalgia blind. But since I'm nostalgia blind, my other senses were heightened. For example, I can hear them talking about making out behind the church from all the way over here. I must be Daredevil. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Whoa! Hey, I can jump 50 feet in the air when getting out of the tub. I better go to the priest and confess that I'm gonna beat criminals up. Cause I'm Daredevil of Harvest Moon. That aside, I think that this is a solid game and I love it. One of my earliest Harvest Moon experiences, and honestly, one of the best. Now before I start, I want to say something about the time system. You see this right here? Forget all the girls in the series. If I could give this thing a blue feather, you better believe I would. Check out my 4th Harvest Moon video in this series for Harvest Moon month, and I'll explain in depth a little more why I think it's brilliant. But anyway, this game is great. I love the music, I love the bachelorettes, I love the variety that this game offers. My few complaints is that the game's control system is a little bonkers. Look at this. Left is up. Up is right, right is down, and oh my, okay, I'm gonna stop right there, no need to say what down does. But basically you have to hold the controller at a 45-degree angle for it to make any sense of the movement. And while I was playing it and comparing it to the other Harvest Moon games, it had an oddly sluggish feel to it. So although it basically defines what Season sounds like to me, and I love incorporating its music into my other videos, I can only give it the number 4 spot. Notice, the copy of A Wonderful Life I wanted to use is in Idaho, so the footage I will be using is my sister's version. Please understand. Now here's the first Harvest Moon game I ever played, and I honestly think it is the greatest entry point into the Harvest Moon series. The game is pretty fun and it grows and contorts with you, but even though it has the 1 second equaling 1 minute time system, I'm willing to forgive it for 2 reasons. First off, it's on a console. Second off, months are only 10 days long. The game actually moves at a decent pace, and I love the game's characters, even the grubby little fuzzball Murray. The only thing I don't like is that there are only 3 bachelorettes. I mean, fortunately they have 3 very distinct personalities, but still, only 3? Another thing that I like about this game is that it actually ends. And you know what? As a child, I think I learned something from this game, so sit crisscross applesauce, kids! It's time for story time! Once I played this game, and it was super fun, and I decided I was going to give it everything I had and play from start to finish. I actually got all 3 of the girls up to 4 hearts, and I decided I would try and marry Muffy. But I accidentally saved on Winter 10, and after her shift started, she wouldn't accept the blue feather. So I decided to marry Nammy since she was playing hard to get. And since I had a lot of money, I bought my son all of the toys. Even though I always wanted to be a scientist, he ended up becoming an artist. And I always loved the classy little girl Lumina living up in the villa, and I hoped he would fall for her. But he ended up going for Kate. So after being saddled with a woman I didn't truly love, and after my son disappointing me time and time again, you know what I learned? Life sucks and then you die. It truly is a wonderful life. I can explain. I know you're probably yelling at me, why is Minerals out here twice and not one of the other games? Well, let me break it down to you. Now, while the game is a remake, it looks remarkably similar. The game mechanics are completely different. I think that the playability, overall game feel, and progression of the GBA port, oh, not to mention it's portable, makes it one of the funnest and most solid game entries. I mean, the rate at which you upgrade your character and farm are tuned to perfection. The graphics are super sleek, and being able to pull it out of your pocket anytime to play a day or two while waiting makes this game a day and night transformation from the PlayStation 1 counterpart. This game is super nostalgic for me, and it's polished one of my favorite games. In fact, when I first thought of this list, I thought it was going to be number 1, but then I realized as fine-tuned as the game is, number 1 actually did everything slightly better, so here it is. Once again, I can almost feel your anger. But if the mechanics of Friends of Mineral Town and Back to Nature are night and day, well then the mechanics of A Wonderful Life and DS are Sun and Pluto. AWL is a fantastic game, nearly flawless, but the DS melts the beautiful chunk of iron that is A Wonderful Life into Bessemer Seal. It takes the city that I love, switches it with the clock that I love, and several other tidbits. First off, it adds in more bachelorettes, including Flora, a mermaid, and Kiera. Can somebody go fetch Gaijin Guma? I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure there's something more that meets the eye with this girl. Oh, and I almost forgot my favorite gal, Lumina. Fine, Tommy. If you won't marry her, I will. Please don't tell Chris Hansen. But on top of the perfectly balanced time system and little Easter eggs that make this game a blast to play, we also have the best farm system, aka you can build all the stables you want, and farm equally as much. You can even hire sprites to handle the tedium of huge field. It addresses every little nitpick I've had, from making items stackable in the bag to including previous installments' musics to play as you farm. Oh, and gambling. I know I never said it, but all the Harvest Moon games are missing the ability to waste your life away gambling. So there you have it. Human Games' top 5 Harvest Moon games. That probably should have just been 3. Do you agree with any of these? Are you gonna kill me for not including Save the Homeland? I'm not asking rhetorically. I want you to tell me about a special Harvest Moon game in the comments. So go ahead. Or, depending on when you're watching this, you can check out my other Harvest Moon Month videos. Or just sit there in the dark. Whichever of those options makes you happy.
Okay.
Man, Chet, you can't give up now. You said this was supposed to be fun.